Good afternoon, everyone, if you're joining us live, and welcome to the Fintech Show. I can't believe this is episode 6 already. So hi, thanks for joining us again. We're coming to you live today from the UK. We're not at the G7, but we are going to be talking about the G7 later on. And we're beaming ourselves all the way around the world like some kind of fintech Star Trek. It's Friday. So lots of people around the world are not working today as it's their weekend. Those in Asia Pacific might be putting their chairs on tables and getting ready for a night out, while our cousins in Americas are just getting started maybe with a hot cup of Joe to turbocharge their day. And talking of Joe, we're also coming to you live as the G7 leaders, including US President Joe Biden, are meeting in Cornwall, England. And today, we're also on the cusp of the European Football Championships, which start today. And of course, they should have been held in 2020, but for some reason, I'm not sure why, they were postponed. Now, all things considered, with global leaders meeting face-to-face for the first time and football fans shuffling into stadiums across Europe, it's starting to feel a lot like we're on the road back to something resembling normal. So, please do come along and tell us what you're doing today. Tell us where you are in the world, what you're up to, who's going to win the Euros, but maybe. And of course, any comments you may have during the show about anything that we talk about. To start with, we have, hi Scott, I think AI Fintech Jordan. I don't know if that's somebody called Jordan or somebody from Jordan. It might well be. And what a wonderful country Jordan is too. And a warm hello from Jakarta, Indonesia. Lovely Indonesia. Okay, and as I said, it is the Euros later on. But before then, we're going to kick off with a different kind of highlight. And here with me to discuss the issues of the day while casting an analytical eye over the world of fintech is our very own G, senior editor, Will Girling. What's cooking, Will?
Hello there, Scott. Well, it's not a case of what's cooking, but what's burning. The BusyClick office reeks of burnt croissant. I won't name and shame who did it, but nah, that's all right. It's all good.
Can I ask a question? Would you ever consider putting a croissant into a toaster?
No, I would not. I would have it straight from the patisserie, maybe with a blob of jam on the plate.
Well, that's controversial. This one could run and run. I mean, we do have a poll today. The poll is not, should you put a croissant in a toaster? And it's not, should you have jam with it? What is our poll about, Will?
Well, the news broke this week that the first country in the world ever to classify Bitcoin as a legal tender is the South American country El Salvador. The poll is live now on Fintech Magazine, and it's very, very close, I have to say. So I'll be very interested to see what the results are.
Okay, excellent. Now, as Will said, you can go to LinkedIn and vote on our poll. Anything that we talk about today, all of the news, all of the features that we talk about from the latest magazine, all the videos that you see, everything we talk about today is available for free on our websites. So if you go to those websites, we should be having those dotted up across the bottom of the screen. That is fintechmagazine.com. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. There we go. fintechmagazine.com and insuretechdigital.com as well. And as someone said to me earlier, it's all on the internet, innit? So we need to register that URL as soon as possible if our IT guys are listening in. Just a few quick hellos to people tuning in, as I say, from around the world. We have Rekha from India. Hi, Rekha. How you doing? We have Stephen. Oh, hi, Stephen. How you doing? Friend of the show. Hi from the heart of fintech in NYC. Absolutely, Stephen. And Louis. Hi from Malta. Hi, Louis. How you doing? Are you in Valletta today, or perhaps you're on the beautiful island of Gozo? Who knows? And Akshata. Hi from India as well. Hi, everyone. Okay, that's enough hellos for now. We've got work to do. Guys. So still to come, we'll be talking about our live event taking place later this year. We'll remind you of the Top 100 Leaders initiative, where you can come and nominate people for that. And we'll be taking a look, of course, at the new issue of Fintech Magazine and the denouement of any fintech show, the now legendary end of the show. But that's still to come. Before then, obviously, we're going to talk about the news and something that Will mentioned regarding the poll, which is El Salvador, obviously the first country to make Bitcoin legal tender. So tell us a bit more about that, Will.
Yeah, so this was a story which was covered by our very own Tilly Kenyon. They're the first in the world to do this, and it passed by quite a large majority. 74% of El Salvador's Congress passed this. So it's got a lot of backing, and it basically means that Bitcoin can now be used as legal tender for all goods and services, including official ones like paying your taxes. It was kind of spearheaded by their president, Nayib Bukele, who's a bit of a controversial figure. He was formerly a businessman before he went into politics, and he's kind of criticized for being a bit of a populist and an authoritarian. But he's also prone to political stunts, which has led a lot of people to wonder whether this is just the latest one. But in that article which Tilly wrote, she quoted Nigel Green, who's the CEO of De Beer Group, and he basically said that El Salvador probably won't be the last to do this, although it seems like a bit of a crazy thing to do now. Crypto is actually offering smaller nations a chance to break away from kind of these big currencies like the USD and achieve more self-determination financially. When I finished reading that article, I kind of wondered, is the opposition to doing this kind of on a more global basis? Is it because there's some interested parties who don't want that decentralization? It's an interesting thing, but as is very obvious, crypto is not going away, Scott.
Crypto is not going away, but that leads us rather beautifully into the next story we're going to talk about, which is, maybe crypto is going to go away. Who knows? And maybe, as you sort of alluded to, there might be certain parties, certain individuals, certain state actors around the world who maybe have a vested interest in crypto not being a global success. But let's talk about here, this is completely unrelated, of course. We're talking about China clamping down on crypto mining operations. And we were talking about this prior to the show as well. But just give me your take on this, Will. What's happening exactly?
It's a bit of a drastic move, really. So obviously, prior to this news, China was home to around 65% of all the crypto mining operations in the world. I think you might have mentioned in a previous show that it was in Mongolia mainly that this was happening. But now Beijing is insisting that it needs to kind of clamp down on these things because it wants to save the real economy, control financial risks, and basically promote market reform. Basically, if you want to have a free, high-power processing computer, just go and check the streets of Shanghai, because it seems like all these miners are going to be going from China and maybe going to places which are more receptive. So the US, South America, and in Northern Europe, they're all destinations where they could be fleeing to. It's an interesting move. You would think it probably wouldn't be related to the environmental aspect so much because China doesn't seem to be kind of engaging with in sustainability in the same way that other nations are. Yet I do believe they cited that as a motivation. So I guess we'll find out where this goes. Certainly, it doesn't seem to be slowing down the development of their official state cryptocurrency, the digital yuan.
Yeah, interesting that, isn't it? You're absolutely right. Some of the reports that I read, the rationale behind clamping down, certainly on the operations in, I think it was northern Mongolia, was that it was the environmental concern, and obviously we all know that crypto mining uses a significant amount of electricity, and when you're talking about certain regions in China, that means a lot of coal generated electricity as well, and very cheap electricity, and excuse me, and that is part of the problem. But when you actually see the background to this, it's quite incredible. So you mentioned there's 65-70% of the world's crypto is mined in China. The amount that is mined just in that region, so just in northern Mongolia, was actually more than the entire US at the moment.
Wow.
But also the energy usage. I mean, and this is a conservative estimate that was put together by, I think it's the University of Oxford or Cambridge. Actually, no, I think University of Cambridge. They have a faculty working on this. And the conservative estimate was that the amount of energy used to actually mine crypto is more energy than is used by Argentina. So, there's more energy being used by crypto miners than entire nations as a whole. And when you think of it like that, it's crazy. And again, I'm plucking these figures from my brain. Some might have stuck, some might not have. I think it accounts for something like 7% of the world's energy use. 7% of the world's energy use is on crypto mining. Yes, that is a huge amount mined in China, Helen. Sydney Adams, you're absolutely correct. But yeah, the reasons for doing it, interesting. Are they trying to, are they genuinely clamping down on it for environmental reasons? Is it because they want to bolster their own cryptocurrencies? Or is it a way of influencing some kind of control or pricing mechanism over the global crypto currency market as well? Interesting one. No doubt we'll be talking about that again and again. A couple of news stories as well you've highlighted here is regarding post-COVID payments. So tell me about that.
Yeah, it was a handful of stories which I've noticed springing up. Obviously, we talked about in a previous episode, trying to survey our community to find out whether people's spending habits have changed since the pandemic. And now it seems that the rapid adoption of digital finance has, it's really reached critical mass. And that means that a lot more kind of large scale projects can take place. Now, one of the more interesting ones would be the EU is trying to basically give every single citizen a digital wallet. Now, it's not something which they have to do. It's not mandatory, but they now consider that the time is right. Previously, I believe they had tried to do something similar and it didn't have that much uptake. But now, because digital means of payment were they were the only things that were available to people. Now people are more used to it. Now they're more engaged with it. And now the EU thinks that it can really make it mainstream. The other thing I noticed was that Visa and Goldman Sachs had partnered very recently. And what they're trying to do is make global payments as easy as local payments, which is, it sounds like quite a big undertaking, but it's really indicative of where financial technology is these days. And it also married in with something which HSBC is doing, making their global wallet, which had a similar aim. So it seems that no matter where you are in the world these days, finance is going to make it so that payments can be just as easy as going down to the shop that's just around the corner from your house. It's really exciting. It
is exciting. I mean, let's face it. There are various companies, industries, whatever, around the world that they are not going to allow any kind of friction to come in between people parting with their hard-earned money, correct? So I'm sure it's going to get easier and easier for us to all spend our vast fortunes, however we want to spend that. Okay, that's all. That's all. Really, really a great little snapshot of the news there. As we said, we're posting 2 or 3 news stories every single day. So go to the website www.fintechmagazine.com or to our sister title www.insuretechmag. There we go, insuretechdigital.com. If you go there, you can see all of our stories. You can read all of the magazines, all the back issues, and yeah, it's all there. It's all for free. Go and have a look. As I said, still to come, we'll be talking about our live event coming up later this year. That's coming from London. We're reminding you of our top 100 leaders and, of course, the end of the show. But for now, we're going to take a well-earned break, and I'm going to have a little glass of water. So don't go away, and we'll see you after this commercial. Oh, and there we go. Just as I decided to adjust my earpiece, we're back in the room. Now I hope you all could see that video, because for some reason it wasn't playing through on my player. I mean, we know the internet's had a few hissy fits in the last week or so, but I hope you all managed to see that and everything worked. It worked for you, okay? Will? Yeah, you
clear as a bell. Clear as a bell.
Just me then. Just me. That's fine then. Anyway, welcome back, everyone. Good to see you all. I'm just going to say a few hellos to some people. Greetings to Martins joining us from Riga in Latvia. Hi there. Louis is not far from Valletta. For our Malta fans, he's in St. Julian's, just up the coast, just north, I believe, not too far away at all. Akila from Sri Lanka, hi there. And an interesting comment here from Dean Mason, and I think this was when we were talking about our mining and the amount of energy it was using. So Dean says, yes, but you can now mine from volcanoes. Oh, that sounds like that's the next Bond film, surely. Every Bond villain has got to be using their volcano, their underground volcanic lair, to be mining cryptocurrency. You heard it here first, quantum of crypto or something like that. Okay, so let's jog on, and we're going to turn our attentions to the new issue of Fintech Magazine, packed as usual with great features, amazing insight, interviews with the top executives in the industry, and of course the biggest brains as well. And talking of big brains, Will, I'll pass over to you. Why don't you tell us what's in the issue this month?
Thanks. Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to have a shout out to Valeria Simatov. She provided the great front cover we have now, and also some images that's inside an editorial piece, which we'll discuss later on, featuring Iwaka. What better way to illustrate an article about small business than with miniature people and a massive mug? It's all great stuff. So if we turn now to the upfront studio people.
Oh, look at this. They're going to flick through, are they? Oh, there we I can see a cursor. There we go. Okay, we'll just count from Will with long hair.
Yeah.
The contents page. Oh, there we go. Off you go.
There we go. So for our big picture, we had a Tesla there. Any excuse to get a beautiful car into the magazine, but it was basically talking about how Tesla had stopped accepting Bitcoin. I mean, we can't seem to get away from Bitcoin at the minute, Scott. It just keeps coming up.
It keeps coming up, mate, but also Tesla. You can't escape Tesla, can you? They seem to be in the news for one reason or another. Good, bad, indifferent, crypto, cars, SpaceX, whatever. Can't get away from Mr. Musk and his long tentacles. In fact, there's your next Bond villain. I'm putting it out there right now. Let's have Elon Musk as the next Bond villain. Obviously this is fiction, but I saw his performance on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you caught that, and I thought he put in a very good performance, actually. He played a character in a sort of Mayor of Easttown spoof called Murder Durder, and if you're a fan of Mayor of Easttown, which was a great series, go and check out. It's probably on YouTube or some other streaming service. Go and check out Murder Durder. With Elon Musk in that as well. I am digressing. Sorry, Will. You carry on.
Not at all. Any talk about Mr. Musk, it's all good. So moving on now to the in brief section. Eventually. There we go. So we go. We got our spread, and we got our by the numbers poll, which was: will the US have a central bank digital currency by 2023? The majority of people said no, and judging by what Petter told us on our last episode, Scott, I think they're probably right. I think if the US starts looking into that right now, probably going to be about 5 years before they have anything viable. So the experts in the community have welded together. There you go, the wisdom of crowds.
Indeed,
now,
indeed.
Moving on. We have our global news. On from that. We have people moves. We have our timeline, the creation and evolution of credit card payments. Now, I want to thank, I'm terribly sorry I've forgotten the individual's name, but someone on our LinkedIn page actually recommended that we explore something like this, and they were dead right. It's really interesting. And it's something which has evolved under a very short amount of time. I mean, it was conceived in 1946, And then about, that's almost 60 years later, in 2007, it's transcended being a physical thing entirely. That's how quickly technology moves. And now moving on. And here we have our legend profile on James Goodfellow, OBE, the inventor of pins and the modern ATM. Again, this is another really good piece and something I urge everyone to check out. He's a gentleman who perhaps has not received the historical recognition that maybe he should have done for creating something which changed the world as we know it. So go and acquaint yourselves in the upfront section now.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that fintech is full of bright young things who probably can't remember the days before ATMs. But I certainly remember having to go to the bank or building society with my little savings book, and having to obviously go in during banking hours and then have somebody physically write in the book how much money you were taking out and how much money you had left. And I remember that the day the ATM came to town, it was like a circus. It was like what is this witchcraft? You put this piece of plastic into a little slot and money comes out at any time of day or night. Oh, I tell you, craziness. Have you got anything else to show us from the mag here, Will?
No, I think we can probably proceed to talking about the editorial pieces inside it now. So we got quite a good spread this month. We got customer experience in modern finance. We've got online lending, the revolution happening there. Lean and agile thinking in fintech, and of course the top 10 feature, which this month has been real estate fintechs. The one I want to highlight is the one we talked about just earlier, which was Iwaka, and they were guiding us on alternatives to legacy lending. Now, small businesses, they need support during this difficult time, especially since banks. I don't know if it was Iwaka who provided me with the stat, if I just found it kind of incidentally, but I think 80% of SME loans are actually rejected by high street banks annually.
Wow.
Which is it's quite a shocking statistic, and it's not very encouraging as they're trying to get back on their feet. So Colin Goldstein, who was the commercial growth director at Iwaka, he guided us on what the alternatives are, and what we can do to kind of maybe improve the banking system as it stands. So he said that banks' credit models were established in the 70s. You remember the 70s, don't you, Scott?
Fine decade, my friend. Do you know what? If you're very lucky, then one show I might bring a photo on from me in my pomp in the 1970s.
Definitely, that's got to happen. But anyway, their credit models were established in the 70s when companies were generally a lot older and a lot more stable, which doesn't really fit into the fast and agile startup world that we have today. So Iwaka is basing its decisions on real-time performance data from third parties, which is an example of open finance, which I'm sure our regular viewers will be familiar with from a previous episode. And that allows them to get a more complete picture than traditional banking processes ever could. And that's granting access to funding that's going to be critical to small businesses as they recover. And I'd advise anyone who's interested in what the next generation of lenders are doing and how banks can improve their services to check out that article.
Okay, that sounds cool. I've got one question here because we haven't mentioned the G word for a few episodes now. Is this anything relating to supply chain finance as well?
Supply chain finance? Well, Greensill. No, on this occasion, this is completely Greensill free.
Okay, all right, good. I just wanted to check because we almost got through an entire episode without mentioning the G word. I even had a bottle made to remind me not to mention the G word. Okay, so I think are we going to move on to this profile now, Will? Do you want to just introduce this video?
Yeah, certainly. So this is Hoop, and it's a Canadian pension plan, one of the most esteemed in the country. It's been going for over 60 years, and I think we have a video just to start us off.
Yeah, there we go. I'm sure that video from Hoop echoing a lot of the sentiments a lot of us have towards obviously our medical workers and key workers around the world, and everything they've done for us in the last 18 months or so, and continue to do for us. I know at the start of the show I sort of said, there's signs we're returning to normal, but obviously there are some parts of the world that are still very much in the grip of a second or third wave and everything else. So that's all good. But so Will, tell me a little bit about Hoop then, and the work that they do.
Yeah, so Hoop, it becomes very apparent when you're reading this profile. It's a very member-driven organization, and Rafe Murray and Jennifer Williams are the executives who have been co-leading a significant enterprise transformation of its digital tech. The 4 focus points that they said they were going for was implementing agile methodologies, shifting to a fiat structure, migrating to the cloud, and incorporating a work from anywhere program. The interesting points when I was speaking to them, first of all, that innovation is happening all the time, perhaps not always where we expect it, but it is there. In security, for instance, which not many would interpret with a level of innovation, because that would imply risk taking. But Jennifer states that if you're going to be implementing a digital transformation that's going to be successful, you need to be willing to experiment. So that was a really good point I took away. And the other one, which Rafe made, which was that if you're not in the tech business this century, which business are you in? Which was pretty profound, and I think I even referenced it later on in one of my pieces, because it really hammered home that any industry, even those you wouldn't associate with digital innovation, are going to need to get on their own roadmap. And those who want to get a frontline perspective on a company that's doing that and want to get some tips for how to do it for themselves should check that profile out.
Okay, great. Now, just to remind everybody, the profile that Will is talking about is in the current June issue of Fintech, and you can see all of our Fintech and InsureTech issues by visiting our website. Thank you. You anticipated me. It's fintechmagazine.com and insuretechdigital.com. And everything we talk about today is all there for you to savour and enjoy. Now, Will, before we move on, I feel like we do need to address a bit of an elephant in the room. LinkedIn is literally on fire, saying that you should be the next Bond villain. There've been several calls for this. Although you do have an ally, because Stephen Roche from Sapphire, yes, Helen, Will Girling for the next Bond villain, Mimi Gunn, who may or may not be able to use a toaster. She says, I think Will would make a good Q. And Stephen Roche, next one down, thank you. Mimi Gunn, he says, the Q actor in The Quantum of Solace does resemble Will very closely. That is Ben Whishaw, I believe, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I do see where Stephen's coming from, even if it's not where my mind would immediately go, He's a man you want to have in your corner in a crisis, isn't he? So I can live with that.
Q or Stephen Roche?
Well, both,
exactly.
Who was the fella who used to play Q? Was it something Llewellyn, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I can't remember. For some reason, I'm thinking Bernard somebody, but I think that might have been M, not Q.
Yeah.
And of course, prior to Ben Whishaw, I think it might have been John Cleese who played Q briefly.
I've definitely got the height of a Cleese.
Yeah, you have, sir. You have.
Yeah. I think if you combined all the Qs that have ever existed into a blender, you might get something that resembled me.
There you go. There's a line. There's a line you don't hear very often. I'm sure, Will, you've used that on many a social occasion. I look forward to hearing that at our next face-to-face meeting. Okay, let's move on. Now, Will, actually, I think hopefully you have the results of the poll. The El Salvador poll and Bitcoin. So what are the wise people of fintech? What are they all saying?
Well, the question we asked them was, do they think that El Salvador classifying Bitcoin as legal tender was a smart move, a foolish move, or something else? And they could let us know below. The majority of people, and it's a very slender majority, have gone for smart. They're miles ahead, and that kind of implies that maybe this is not going to be the kind of the isolated incident that some people are saying. 49% said that. Interestingly, 4% said other. And I'd like to read out a comment from Thomas W. I'm sorry, Thomas, I can't see which company you're from. But he says that when one considers that the Republic of El Salvador has a GDP of approximately 25 billion, it's not difficult to imagine that the nation has challenges with poverty. To take that base and accept payments in Bitcoin risks putting the country into bankruptcy, Should cryptocurrency explode before it's found a credible and sustainable avenue of broader respectability going forward? So that's a pretty interesting point. Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting point. Yeah, thanks, Thomas. That sounds interesting. Will, you say that was from LinkedIn, that comment, Will?
It was indeed, yeah.
Okay, we'll try and reach out to you, Thomas W. It was Thomas W, wasn't it? We'll try and reach out to you and maybe get further comment. And obviously, if you are representing a company in the fintech community, then let's have a chat for sure. Okay, now before we get to the end of the show, and I know that Will, for one, is particularly excited about this one because he doesn't know what it's all about. Just a couple of housekeeping points and a bit of event type news to tell you. So as you know, we are doing the top 100 leaders in fintech at the moment. We're running that. We're going to be having a supplement that comes out later this year, and you can go and have your say on who features on that list by nominating on our website. Now, something that Will mentioned to me earlier, he said he'd had a few people ask him how much it costs to nominate somebody for the top 100 leaders. And I'm pleased to say that we haven't yet monetized this opportunity, and therefore it's free. It's free. Just come and have your say. You know, vote for somebody who's inspired you, someone who's doing great work. It could be your boss, it could be an innovator, it could be an absolute legend of the industry. So visit our website. You know them by now, but I'm sure they'll be on screen at some stage, and you can go and have your say and nominate the top 100 leaders in fintech. Also, don't forget the tickets are now on sale for the Fintech and InsureTech Live event coming to you later this year from London. And we do have a quick trailer we're going to show you for that. So let's play that. Yeah, thanks for putting the caption up at the bottom there. I didn't say the dates because I knew they were going to appear in the video, you see. I was doing a little tease. Now, hopefully next week, no, sorry, not next week, next show. So in 2 weeks' time, we're actually going to have the show director, James Callan, joining us from, well, I think he's in the London office generally. He's schmoozing his way around the fintech community, and he'll be able to tell us more about the speakers that we've already got lined up. As you saw from that video and from this ticker at the bottom, this is actually an event that's taking place over 3 days. I've got to move my fingers around. 3 days. So there's 3 whole days of content. Some content is tailored specifically towards the APAC audience, some specifically towards the America audience. And in the middle, we have obviously EMEA as well, and our global days as well. So there's going to be dozens and dozens of speakers, roundtables. There's networking opportunities. This is where the great and the good of the fintech and insurtech industries are going to convene virtually, of course. Bit of a hybrid event. So go and get your tickets now. You can find all the details on our website. Okay, now I'm pleased to say it's time for our regular bit of Friday Fintech Fun with the end of the show. Oh, look at that. Inamara getting in there with tickets for the event here. That's a long old URL, isn't it? I'm sure you can find all the details, well, obviously by clicking that comment there, and also you can find all the details on our website, as I said. Now, as you'll see, regular viewers will know we literally spend no money in bringing you the end of the show, but I'm particularly pleased with the graphics that our team have put together at short notice for Catchphrase. Now, if you're familiar with the TV show, this is going to be nothing like it. This is what we're going to do today. Instead of Will carefully chipping away at a CGI image of Mr. Chips up to no good, we're actually going to show some pictures to Will, and these are taken from popular TV and film, and I have loosely connected these images with a company in the fintech arena. hopefully all will become clear. Now, all as the phrase goes, say what you see. Will, say what you see. And of course, that is the genius behind these images. So, Will, are you ready to play?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, all right, team. Can we have image number 1, please, for Will? Here we go. So, Will, this is a very familiar fintech company. Can you name that company?
Is it really? Oh my goodness. So it's from Silence of the Lambs.
That's correct, yes.
And we have Jodie Foster. Is it something to do with Foster?
Keep going. You're getting warmer.
I'm getting warmer. Hannibal Foster, Lecter Foster.
Oh, this is disappointing.
No, this is
so disappointing.
Appalling.
I tell you what, if there's anyone out there that's watching that knows the answer, please feel free to jump in and save Will's blushes. Okay, but in the meantime, if you can't get that one, we've got no chance for the next. Okay, can we have image number 2, please? Catchphrase 2. Say what you see, Will.
It's like, is it Revolut?
It is Revolut. There we go. Excellent. Now, for people who don't recognise that image because it was a little bit small, I need to tell you who that is, don't I? Well, that's from a TV series from the 70s called Citizen Smith, and that was the character Wolfie, and he led the Tooting People's Front, I think. And the character was modelled on his hero, which is, of course, Che Guevara. But the correct answer is, yes, Revolut. That's the company we're looking for. Okay, let's try image number 3.
Monzo.
Monzo! Exactly. Because as everybody will know, that is the character Gonzo from The Muppet Show. And I'm glad you made the connection there. That's very good. So that was a sounds like clue. I did actually have another visual clue in case you didn't get that one. Can we just see image 4?
Is it Hunter S. Thompson?
That is Hunter S. Thompson. So what's the connection there for Monzo?
He was a gonzo journalist.
He was indeed a gonzo journalist. Okay, all right. Let's get rid of that one. Can we go back to image number 1, and I'll see if I can help Will along here with the company that we're looking for. Now, Will, do you know the names of the characters? So obviously we have Hannibal Lecter.
Oh no, I got it. Starling Bank.
Indeed, Special Agent Starling. And it is Starling Bank. Well, there you go. I think we can call that a categorical success. Well done, Will, on getting all 3 of those correct, and especially well done on getting Wolfie from Citizen Smith. That one goes out to Matt Parker, by the way, because I know we talked about that before. Throwing it right back to the 70s, before fintech even existed. Okay, so that's all from us today. Unless, Will, you have any extra bit of gold that you want to share with the audience?
No gold, but I got the silver.
Okay, all right. I don't know what that means, but
Rolling Stones song.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that's education for me. I didn't think this, honestly. As it says here, read more, see all our news, see all the magazines and everything that we've talked about today at fintechmagazine.com and insuretechdigital.com as well. So it's goodbye from me and it's goodbye from Will. And we will see you again in 2 weeks' time. Just to say, this has been a BizClick Media Group production, and thank you to all the production guys in the background, and thank you to everyone who's taken part today and posted your comments and joined in as well. So thanks everybody, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Bye now.